No, not that one. That one. Lovely. There we go. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a long, long time. It's been a good month. Well, for me, anyway. I'm not sure about you guys. Since we last played.
Been a long time.
Been a while, been a while. Alas, the summer is, as you said before, Eric, not Michael, Eric. Either or. It's not the best time for
It's
scheduling things. But alas, we
Yes.
make do. We make do. So, we're back again to play some Legends of Aleria. And we didn't have everyone here for last session, so what's the last thing people remember? Who was not here for a while? I think last session we had a Janus, a Beleric, and a Evelios, if I'm correct. So, Eric, what's the last thing that you remember?
I think I what. So I think I know about the. Was the last session the one with the Phoenix egg, the platform going up and down.
Yes.
To the yes.
That was the one.
The death
Lovely.
elevator. I remember
Yes,
that.
lovely death elevator
And
to a
then,
million demons below.
Wilston, what's the last thing that you remember happening?
Had good music.
I honestly don't remember what I remember.
Okay. So, you were there for the ship's fight, right? Were you? I think you might have just missed last session.
I think I just missed last, yeah.
Okay. So, the last session for everyone who didn't make it. It was a good session. I enjoyed it. You'd captured the Hell's Gate, a ship that had spent many, many years terrorizing the coast of Aleria. Coast cities, the coast towns, the coast ports had all been terrorized by this ship, and you've taken it down. It was in Rulem, for some reason, laying siege to the town to try and smuggle away the king from a little strike run that they did with some demons that were disguised as some catering staff. You took it down, as I said. There's only one demon that is now left alive from the crew of the Hell's Gate. He's an interesting fella, but he seems to be on your side for now. And you guys have taken over the ship. You returned the king to land, on which he told you that you need to take him to Aleria, because there is some information. There was a missive that told you needed to return post haste, and he's going with you. So he demanded passage upon your ship, and you, I believe, didn't manage to get many of his amenities on board. You put all of the good stuff on the Hell's Gate, much to the king's displeasure. However, as far as I'm concerned, you guys are all on the ship ready to set sail, only a mere few hours after the fights previously. And unless any of you would like to do anything in town, the last thing we did, I believe, was a little bit of a goodbye to Ivar Bastion, a fellow player who has unfortunately not been able to make it for a while, but his character is staying here. Ivar is going to look after his people in Bastion. So does anyone else want to do anything in the city? Or anything at all?
All I'd like to say is, in my making notes, and I can't remember what the source of this was, I wrote that the bearded devil that was piloting the ship, obviously called Morglin, and next to it, I wrote pet. Now, I'm not sure whether he had a pet or I just considered him our pet, but yes, he's associated with a pet in my notes.
Well,
Hope it's the latter.
I was going to say it could be either or, as he was talking about the ship as though it was alive, if you recall.
Yeah.
So maybe that was what you're referring to, but I imagine he is also qualified to be a pet for you guys, considering how strong you all are. Either
There's
way.
a good Morglin.
Who's an adorable little demon?
How are we marching forward then, fellas?
By a boat.
Janus is probably just going to get on the Hell's Gate with Morglin, or whatever his name was.
That was his name.
And yeah, he's just going to get ready to sail.
I'm gonna go wherever James is going because I'll be sitting in his fucking neck. Still riding pony.
I'll be on Ivelios's ship, and I'll be just I'll be sat in a corner, just observing and listening to, especially if I can ever listen into the king of the dwarves. But yeah.
Yes, so the king, Ingvar, he saw that you'd placed all of his stuff up on the Hell's Gate and decided to kick off some of his retainers from your ship and claim their cabins, if you recall. So he's currently down below decks in a very subpar little bedroom that he's not best pleased with, but he hasn't come out, and it seems like he's going to be sleeping off the events of the day for now.
Oh dear.
So, if no one wants to do anything in the city, then if you remember, we played a lovely sea shanty last week that was sung by the crew as they set sail from port. I just thought I'd give you all an opportunity. If you wanted to retroactively do anything before we left, then that would have been fine. But if you're not doing, then I believe you're all sailing up to Illyrians, unless you want to kidnap the king and take him somewhere else.
Let's kill him.
Illyrians it is, I think.
Illyrians or bust.
Okay, in that case, we're going to need some perception checks, some survival checks for, I believe it is the 3-day journey over to Illyrians. About 3 days of sailing. So one of you wants to do a perception check, one of you wants to do a survival check. And that'll be it. Yeah, that'll be it.
I'm good
Decide
at
amongst
neither of
yourselves.
I have. I'm very good. I'm the same at perception and survival, so I can take whichever one of them. People don't want.
I'll stand down from this decision. You don't need me.
I'll take perception.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely, like
that's-
looking over the side, absolutely just to kind of catch the wind in my hair and the cloak. Like, there's no observation happening. It's just looking dramatic.
Lovely.
It's the 29 survival for me.
29. Okay.
17 on perception.
Okay, well, in that case, very good survival check. You are very confident that you do not run past any bands of demons lurking in the forests of the redwoods along the coast, or in the ocean, for that matter. You don't see anything, and yeah, you make your way over to Illyrians over the course of 3 days quite nicely. Ingvar has been very quiet. He's basically been just relaxing in his room, sleeping quite a lot, eating quite a lot. And that's mostly it, really. He hasn't really been coming out unless any of you guys have been going in to speak to him.
Has he been eating, like, this is going to sound like such a weird, paranoid question, like, more than dwarves usually eat? Like, is he,
Do you want to make a...
I don't know,
This would be like a culture check. What's a culture?
yeah, like, I've been around Ivar enough to know what, like, a dwarven appetite is, and we've already seen some people shapeshift into someone else, so I'm just a bit
Okay.
like to get an eye on that.
Let's go for an insight, I think. That might be the closest one. And if you don't have proficiency with it, you can have proficiency for this roll.
I think I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Kablam! 26.
26.
Oh,
No, it doesn't seem like he's eating much more than a typical royal dwarf. He's eating a bit more than a normal dwarf, but when you are royalty, you can indulge yourself a little bit, and he definitely is. But no, I don't think you would see it as anything untoward.
Okay. Worth a check.
And definitely, I think that was a very smart idea. This one. So, over the course of the journey, what are people doing? Anything? Nothing? Something?
I will be using the Dwarven King's amenities for myself on the Hell's Gate.
Yes, they're on your ship, so you can do with that what you will.
Every now and then, I will fire a random frag grenade just over the edge of the ship into the ocean, and then go back to
depth charging
tinkering.
random fish.
Seems fair.
with your perception as you're commanding the mass of the wheel, Evelios, you'll just see a couple of bodies of fish floating in the ocean behind you. Unless you've instructed Morglin not to, he will have. If you remember, on the Hell's Gate, there were cages filled with corpses that were dangling into the water to attract monsters of the ocean. Unless you had told him otherwise, he would have pulled them up out of the ocean with the wheel at the front. So the waters are calm for the journey. And after the first 2 days, you pull into the river that leads all the way down to Illyrians. If you remember, it's about halfway down the river between the coastline and the Great Divide that runs down the middle of the continent. You sail down it for a day. You see a couple of other ships sailing past, a couple of merchant vessels. In fact, only merchant vessels, no soldiering vessels or anything other than that. You see maybe a couple of smaller fishing boats next to a couple of small settlements that might be situated along this river to try and take advantage of the traffic that it gets. But other than that, at the end of your journey, you arrive back in Illyrians, the great capital city of Aleria. And as you sail through the deep blue river, you go through the not really poor end, because it's a capital city and it's all quite posh. But you sail through the place where the buildings are made of normal bricks and mortar, past the normal docks until you get to the inner city where it's all made of lovely bright white marble and fancy stone. You sail through the deep blue of the river, you sail under a couple of bridges, and you sail underneath the bridges. The first couple of bridges seem to be pretty empty, but by the third or fourth bridge there are small crowds of people that have gathered at the bridges, shouting down at you, throwing down little coins, flowers, a few pieces of paper here and there, and cheering at your return, mostly celebrating the defeat of the Melangor. This tale seems to have spread quickly from Rulem. And despite the people in Illyrians not really knowing what the Melangor is, it's still a grand tale, and the people seem to have enjoyed it, and upon your return they are celebrating it. And you sail...
Can I have said that... Sorry, and as we were sailing, I'm going to say what Beleric was doing is perfecting that song. He'd already dropped hints of it at the party, so I think he was probably composing it into a thing that he can arrive and be like, kablam, with.
Okay, do you want to do a performance? As in a roll, not to sing song. Unless you want to do a sing song, I'm quite happy if you do.
I don't know where my dice has gone. I'll try again.
Do you have your claws in your hair, your teeth in your fangs in your hair?
Oh yeah, can I make it a horror? We're branching out with genre here. Oh,
What, you want
I like
to
that.
intimidate the people into...
Ooh.
Behold your
work on
mighty
how that-
conquerors.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to make it a bit of a thriller.
You can do whatever you want.
Right, anyway, sorry, what was the question? Performance
Yes.
is 19.
19. So as you sail down the river, you're at the bow of the ship singing a great song. And the question here actually is, what are you doing with the Hell's Gate? Are you taking it into the city, or have you moored it somewhere else?
Can it got all of Ingvar's furniture on it?
It does.
Yeah.
I vote for mooring it offshore.
That changes everything.
But Janus is helm, so
Yes, you could have parked it just outside of the city if you want, on one of the small docks that people tend to use for fishing.
Yeah, I'm going
I
to do
feel
that.
like bringing Morglin into the capital city is not
Yes.
the smartest of ideas.
And
Yeah.
I was going to say, what are you doing with Morglin? He does seem a little bit wary of going into a city filled with people. Seems a little bit uncomfortable with it, but he would be happy to go if you wanted him to.
Have we had any ripples or anything happening with that, the portal entrance which was shut off from our side? Have we seen any sign of life or movement from it?
No. It's, I mean, the bits of rubble have been moving as you've been sailing along, presumably from the rocking of the ship. It doesn't seem like anything's happening. So you're leaving the Hell's Gate and Morglin outside of the capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
If everyone's good with that.
Someone want to stay with them? Or should we just accept that?
I mean, I could stay with Morgan.
Well, you were all summoned to the capital, so presumably they want you all there.
I will put a sign up saying, like, don't touch, the legends were here.
Well, once they see this spiked demonic ship moored up, I think they're going to stay well clear of it.
yeah, we'll just leave them both.
Okay, lovely. So, as you're saying through the streets, it's a lovely scene. You're stood at the prow of the ship singing a grand thriller. Have you
Yeah,
decided?
I think I want to make a bit of like a.
Dark
I don't really want
undertones.
it to be like a triumphant, happy return. I want it to be a bit like, yeah, we've seen some shit.
Okay.
Kind of
It's
yeah.
in the minor key.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, I just want it to kind of be a bit
Yeah.
more intimidating, a bit more awe-inspiring,
Okay.
and there for the story, as opposed to, well, hey, we're back.
Okay.
It is an epic tale.
Yeah, I want to be a bit more serious in my tone.
Well, in that case, the first couple of bridges, people are cheering and laughing, throwing some flowers. But then you get to the next couple of bridges, and as you go further along, there's less of the throwing flowers and more just looking on in spectacle at you. Less kind of cheer and happiness. They're all just looking at you as you approach, being respectful, accepting of the fact that you're back. You do still get the odd bit of paper thrown at the ship. Still a few flowers here and there. And a couple of gaggles of children who are still making bits of noise, but for the most part your performance is good enough to create the atmosphere that you're looking for. You sail further down towards the main castle, which is rising gracefully across the horizon of the skyline of the city, with these big white marble spires that kind of reach up into the sky. You finally arrive on the posh docks, which are very square. The white marble in these part of the docks reaches underneath the water. It's like they've excavated the river itself and turned it into like a big pool with white marble coating pretty much every inch that you can see. When you land the docks, your crewmates start to tether the ship up, throw down the gangplank, and march on land. They bring off a couple of empty barrels and such. Do all the things that you need to do when you dock, and then it's up to you guys. Ingvar himself is still down below decks.
Probably tell him we've arrived. Just leave him there.
I mean, I'm busy sorting out ropes and such like. Talking to the harbour master.
Right, who wants to go get the king? I'm going to volunteer Eric. Pat him on the shoulder.
Okay then. I think we should have a conversation though in a minute about what we saw through the portal. But for now, I'll go grab him. I'm gonna head on down and let him know that we've arrived.
You knock on the door and you hear a gruff, "Come in." When you come in, he's sitting on a chair next to a table, just kind of head in his hands, looking quite tired. Doesn't look like he's got very good sea legs on him.
Good morning, sir. I'm just coming to inform you that we've arrived. If you
Lovely.
wish to make your way.
Yes, I do. I've my stuff brought on land. And he stands up. His kind of like tired visage vanishes and he starts marching towards the door.
I'll just let him walk straight past. Just not
Lovely.
say anything.
Marches past up to the top of the ship and straight down the gangplank, looks around. Sees there is a small band of dwarves wearing quite regal clothing and marches over towards them. No thanks, no waving goodbye to you. He greets them, with some gruff greetings of conversation, and they all start marching away towards the main palace.
What a prick. And I'll
He
walk
was
back up.
I couldn't have said it better myself, indeed.
Do you have any idea why we've been summoned?
None
No.
whatsoever.
I'm interested to see what they have to say, but it's worth remembering that they were trying to bring the new king through the Hell's Gate. Perhaps the old king is through there. If hopefully this won't take too long and we can follow that lead, maybe.
Possibly.
Hmm.
The only thing I suspect that we may have been
That's
summoned for is
sensible.
maybe the Black Cell. Other than that, I'm not too sure.
Wasn't
Yes.
Farreach's name on the missive as well that summoned us?
Ah. Such fun.
Delightful.
I mean, I've still got the guy's head. Takes it from his belt. Just gonna look at-
Janus, when we see Farreach, would you do us the honors of throwing that at his feet dramatically?
Oh, gladly. That was my plan this entire time.
Excellent.
I would like to pat Janus on the shoulder and give him a bardic inspiration just for this.
Lovely.
for the drama. But I remember to add a little spin on it.
I'm gonna go make it like spin like a way that the hair flows through the air, eyes dangle out and everything.
The head of Yagarath itself is still as pristine as the day you locked it off. It's not rotting. There's no blood coming out of the neck anymore, but it doesn't look like it's been decaying or anything. Still nice and fresh. Doesn't smell horrible either, you know. He's just had a shower, you know. He's put deodorant on just for you guys.
How does it taste?
Um, probably of not much, to be honest. He's mostly made of shadows. I can't imagine it's very tasteful. However, you're all on the deck of the ship having a little discussion. As you're looking around at the docks, you see that there is a young squire who is straight-backed, legs straight, arm up to his head at attention. He's been like this for maybe 3 or 4 minutes since you docked. He's got a little bit of paper in his hand, and he hasn't moved.
Can wait.
And
Make him wait to see how long he
Bell
can go.
be like, do you want to bet on timings?
Think he can last another 6 minutes.
Janus is gonna be nice, and he's gonna go over to him, and he's gonna give a salute back, standard military salute.
As soon as you walk over to him, he gets even more straight back than he was before, which doesn't look like it was possible, but he manages it. Legends, I have a missive for you. Here, and he holds out the piece of paper.
Janus will take the paper and says, "Thank you very much."
He snaps his arm down by his side and stands there.
Do
Kind
you
of-
have a name?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
name?
Glad I'm in good company. Like to enlighten me?
On what, sir?
Your
Your
name,
name.
boy.
Yes, my name's Simon, sir.
Lovely to meet you, Simon.
Yes, sir.
Just gonna kind of walk back a little perturbed. Like that was a very strange interaction. Just gonna walk back to Avelios and be like, I think you could have done 10 minutes actually.
Well,
Janus
you
is
know,
gonna-
he is a soldier.
Janus is gonna read the letter.
Now you open the letter and it's written in a lovely scrawling font. And it says, "Welcome back, legends. You have another night at the Golden Swan. I hope you enjoy your stay. There is a council meeting tomorrow, early midday, at the palace. I expect you all to attend. I understand that Ivar may not. But if you guys all attend, it will be me, the Queen, Farreach, and Ingvar. We hope to see you there. And it's signed with the Queen's signature.
So who are the people there?
The Queen,
The Queen,
Farreach,
Farreach, and
and Ingvar.
Ingvar. Oh, okay. Okay, wonderful.
James will close up the letter and say, "Thank you, Simon, for the letter. You can be on your way now."
Thanks, sir. Are you going to stay at the Golden Swan tonight?
Of course.
I will inform Her Majesty.
Thank you very much.
And he snaps his heels around, quick and sharp, and marches off down the street with a little bit of a spring in his step.
He seems a bit dedicated. Well, boys.
A noble quality, I'm sure, in those that need it.
Yeah, we'll say that nicely. Well, to the Golden Swan.
Anyone else feel like they've just been
Indeed.
told off?
You think we're going to get told off?
Feels like when your father kind of says, "We need to see you tomorrow."
We want a word.
That the
It's
father
probably-
is the queen and I'm arsehole on council.
It's probably just going to be the case of Farreach was like, I was right, you should have went north.
And then we can tell him that he was a twit.
Yes. And then I'll throw the head at him.
Excellent.
Not as
Practice
feet at
tonight.
I was going to say, is this dramatically or is this bowling?
him. Bowling.
Let's make a ranged attack at far reach. What could possibly go wrong?
Enough power to set him off balance.
Improvised weapon, Yagarath.
That's head. What time is it? What time did we arrive at
Probably
Aleria?
around 2 or 3 p.m.
Okay.
Sun's still in the sky, but it's going to be going down in the next hour or so.
It's calls for the veterans pub, I think.
Yeah, fantastic.
Eric, I remember you saying you wanted to talk about the portal.
I've said my piece that maybe the king is in the same location that they were trying to take Ingvar. I'm concerned about our conversation with Farreach and as to why it is simply us, the Queen, Farreach, and Ingvar. Given the recent actions of Ingvar and the character of Farreach, it seems like it would be more than likely a reach for power. Ivelios,
Yes.
don't know whether it could come in handy or not, but have you ever brewed something that loosened the tongue?
A sort of truth vial, as it were.
Yes, something so that we could have an honest conversation with, particularly Farreach. We
It's
have
a
a date.
it's a little outside of my area of expertise, unfortunately. I do know a couple of people in the city that could possibly attain something, but I could certainly give it a go. It's just I'm much more suited to combative brews than the social ones.
I
Mm.
do have a truth serum.
You do?
Yes. I've
I'm
had
going to
one
ask
in
why.
my time. I have it for reasons.
Insight check.
Janus. Janus, you're supposed to be a upstanding officer. And first you have a demon inside of you, and next you tell me you carry truth serum as a matter of course.
Well, I just thought,
I'm
in case
beginning
we
to
needed
like you even more than I did already.
just in case we needed to interrogate anyone. That's all I'm saying. I've always had it. I've had it since we set out on this journey.
Instead, you let me stab Morglin's leg, hand. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I didn't think it was going to be useful at the time.
Fair enough.
Like it's like a important
Well,
potion.
I'll take openness now than never.
Do you want the serum?
If you were prepared to part with it,
I don't need it.
it could be useful. We have a date to prepare for our meeting with Far Reach. It might be useful to think through some scenarios.
Actually, Ivelios, do you think you could make the potency stronger? Oh,
Just
Ivelios.
thinking,
face.
No.
No.
just thinking really,
Okay.
really hard.
There he goes. There he goes.
Curious.
Never know.
I mean, he hasn't left yet, so I'm hoping it might just come back, you know.
Truth serum of indeterminate strength.
Hope, the first step on the path to disappointment.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Jack! Don't let go, Jack!
Well, I can put that question on hold for a moment.
Ah.
So,
Is there anything anyone else thinks we should prepare or generally think about the next day? Out of character. Oh,
Oh.
he's
That
back.
lives.
they have returned.
He didn't let go.
I love my internet. It's
Can't hear you.
fantastic.
You're almost taken by the gods, but they returned you.
We can hear. I can hear you.
Oh, thank God. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting anything?
What have I done
Yeah.
then?
Oh, no.
Can hear everybody else.
What's happened?
We can all hear Jack, but Hal can't hear Jack.
Hang on. I shall be...
Oh. He's messed up the stream overlay.
It's okay. He's
Unacceptable.
coming back.
He broke the illusion.
I was on screen twice there.
Is that any
I
good?
used 2 cameras.
Is that any good? Al, please. Please.
We
Please,
can hear
Al.
Hal, maybe you try leaving and joining again?
Yeah, I'll turn it off now and again.
it.
I am...
Anyone
Sorry,
who's
guys.
watching, have you tried turning it off and on again?
My
You
fix-
at home.
My go-to is a strong hit, and if that doesn't work, then I go to try and turn it off and on again.
Have you tried smacking it about the head and body?
Yeah,
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
does that work?
Is that any good for you, Hal?
We're back.
Oof, lovely.
Hey.
Well,
Perfecto.
I believe there was a
Well, that's a
question
stronger
asked.
potion.
Yes. Ivelios.
I missed that owing to the fact that the gods briefly took me on a sojourn to the celestial plane. Please repeat.
Do you reckon you could make the potency of the truth serum any stronger?
I could certainly try.
I will give it to you then.
Excellent. DM, crafting time.
Okay, so you can roll your potion skills. If you have some downtime, you can roll with your potion toolkit.
Ooh, good
Excellent. Oh,
idea.
Mhm.
Okay. It is unlikely that Far Reach would knowingly take a potion. A man of his standing is well versed in not telling the truth. What if we were to find a way that he did not know that he was taking it? Say, for example, if we coated a present in the potion and it were potent enough to seep through his fingers and into his bloodstream.
I was going to
Good
suggest that
contact.
the meat of the Melangor went down rather well with Ingvar.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I was thinking we could just offer a bottle of wine or something.
The bard and the barbarian.
I don't think he's going to drink a gift. For a man of his popularity and in his position.
I
Stupid.
mean, I was planning on just sort of wandering around the edge of the hall and, casually slipping into whatever he was currently drinking while we were chatting. But I suppose we all have our own methods.
I feel like he'll be more inclined to consume anything if firstly he thinks he's going to get something from it.
That is
with
true.
Ingvar,
To be
or
fair,
if he prepared it himself.
if Ingvar's there, he'll certainly be like supportive of the meat, if you will. He'll be our salesman.
Right and tested.
But then will he not complain that he only got one bit?
Doubt he would
but
complain in front of the Queen.
we
play
gave
it
him
against
the
each other.
heart of the Melangor. We can just give Far-Reach, like, I don't know, a limb or something.
Giblet.
A toe.
Just a smidgen.
Well, I would allow you
But-
to make a roll with your potion kit to either make it uncontactable or improve the. I believe the potion has a spell DC or not. Does it have,
Yeah,
it
it's
has
a DC
Constitution save,
11.
right? Yeah, or you could try and improve the DC of the potion.
Given the time we have, it's not possible to do both, I'm imagining.
No.
Righty-ho. In which case, do we want to make it riskier to apply, but more effective? Or do we want to make it easier to apply, but run the risk of it possibly failing? I may be a genius, but there is only so much I can do.
I think it's more useful having it happen if applied, rather than applying it easily and only a 50% chance of working.
Very well. If we can... Well, we do have the meat, so the delivery method appears to have sorted itself. I'll work on potency, if you'll excuse me. And Evelios is going to hold out a hand towards Janus for the truth serum.
It will take you
Fascinating.
a good couple of hours at the evening to
Excellent.
do that.
Get the bathroom back on.
What particular ability score is this skill going to be under?
I think this would be probably more wisdom than intelligence because it's not what you're specialised in.
Okie dokie.
If it was like
And
if it was like your weapons potions, then I would say intelligence because it's like what you're good at. Because it's wisdom, I think.
yeah,
I think it makes more sense that way.
Is
yeah.
there any way of helping with this?
Not
I can
really, because
justify it.
it's over very many hours. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean-
Do I get any bonus from using my workshop on my ship, which is where I keep the majority of my stuff?
no, not at the moment.
No.
Would bardic inspiration make a difference?
No, because it's over the course of very many hours.
Fair.
Yeah. Already. 17.
Okay. 3. So it'll be, what was the DC before? 11. So the DC will now be 14 of the potion.
Okie dokie.
There is much banging and sounds of flame, and occasionally, like a puff of smoke curls up from like the keyhole of the door.
Yeah, so are you doing that
It-
on your ship?
I think.
Where is everyone else?
Yes.
It's going to take you deep into the... Well, not deep, but into the hours of the evening, definitely. So what's everyone else going to be doing?
I will go to the veterans pub.
Okay.
My people need me.
True soldier.
Are you still walking around, no helmet?
No, I've got my helmet back on, but my
it's
armor is like,
still shiny.
yeah.
Lovely. And everybody else.
I will make my way to the city cemetery.
Okay. Interesting. Have
I
you
will
got to...
be.
Go on.
I will be just sat like tinkering and trying to get, do some upgrades on my shotgun. And whoever drags me with them, I'll go with them. But I am not paying attention to what's going on around the world.
Okay.
So if I'm set on the street, I'll get fucking trampled.
Lovely. Well, I imagine you would have probably stayed on Evilios' ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
No one's taking you anywhere else. Are you all agreeing upon a meeting location at a certain time this evening? Or are you just... Well, what are you doing?
Golden Swan at 7.
Golden Swan, I think we'll all
Okay.
meet there.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna stay on Ivelios' ship, like kind of loitering outside the door, probably chatting with a few of crew people.
Okay.
Crew is the word I was looking
Crew.
for there.
Yeah.
Crew people.
Lovely.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a bit of a socializing.
Lovely.
Gage, question.
Spread some rumors.
Are there like multiple veteran pubs?
Well, there'll be a couple, yes. Presumably
Janus-
there'll be maybe
Janus-
3. Well, the first one you enter with your nice, clean armor, you will almost be instantly recognized. Everyone's clamoring to buy you a drink, share stories, hear stories from you, complain about the war, tell you, ask if there's any updates. They're all clamoring for your attention. You're going to get free drinks for the entire evening.
No, I was going to buy people drinks.
Well, you can if you want, but I think most of them want to buy you a drink. The chance
Oh,
of getting the
Jane-
good books of a legend is a little bit too enticing.
I'm going to like hush them all down and be like, no, you guys were already in my good books. And I'm just going to buy rounds and rounds of drinks. And then I'm going to go like on a pub crawl and go to all the veteran
okay.
pubs and buy people drinks.
How much money are you willing to spend?
I'm willing to spend like 100 gold.
Per pub?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the first pub you'll spend 100 gold on drinks. And when you leave and you go to the second pub, all of the people from the first pub follow you to the second pub. Completely pack it out. They're out on the streets. The bartender has to bring out wooden tables to start filling the streets. And with everyone here, you could easily spend 200 gold on them all again.
Yes.
And then when you go to the third pub, it's going to happen again. Everybody's going to follow you to the third pub. Enough
Yes.
people to spend 300 gold pieces on them.
Yes, please.
Janus single-handedly causes a riot.
At the third pub, the street is completely blocked outside. Like, completely from one end of the street to the other is just... it starts off with, like, wooden chairs and tables from like a semicircle around the tavern. Then it just evolves into people with, like, blankets and cushions, and people at the end are just kind of, like, hanging around like it's a beer garden, everyone's just stood up chatting with each other. Some people show up and they're just like, what's going on here? What's this? Free drinks. And then they meet you and they have conversations with you and they have a merry evening. So you spend 600 gold pieces to put on a lovely beer event for people.
Yes. Janus will be very proud of himself.
Okay. And come about 7 o'clock then, The veterans are all hammered, ready to retire. They're falling asleep on the streets. The clean white marble streets, no longer quite as clean. Lots of spills, puddles, sweat, bits of food down the streets that you've been on. But you stagger back to the Golden Swan at around 7 o'clock, when everyone is kind of reconvening in the foyer of Golden Swan. You walk past the bartender, not the bartender, sorry, the waiter. Not the waiter. What the fuck is the word I'm looking for? The
Dorman?
doorman, that's the one. You walk past the
Is
doorman.
Kevin.
It is Kevin indeed.
Kevin!
He's stood there with one hand in front of him, with a nice little towel over it, the other hand behind his back, and as you all approach him, he opens the door for each one of you and gives you a nod of greeting.
Everyone's favourite Dragonborn.
What was Eric doing at the cemetery?
What is Eric doing at the cemetery? Is he coming back at 7, or is he...
Yeah, Eric's coming back at 7. He was just going somewhere with fertile soil.
That sounds fucking horrible.
I don't like
He's been on a
Sulfur.
wooden boat and rocky outcrops where nothing grows. Life, as in death, provides growth and life.
The less said about that, the better, I think.
Sustenance.
Mhm.
Fertilizer.
Yes,
Eric
fertilizer.
roasted himself for 3 hours.
Yeah, if you ever went there, you'd see him in his sleeping position, just sort of underground, mushroom out. He's not in any of the graves, but he's next to them.
The bee event probably went past it.
Why does he specifically have to go to a cemetery?
I'm sure people have gardens.
Well,
Composition makes for good soil.
yeah, good soil. It's the
Okay.
good shit. Plus,
mushrooms.
he's been thinking about things. He's been thinking about things, but you're not there, so you don't know the thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, when Janus finally arrives in the foyer of the Golden Swan, the lush area where the black walls, the white marble pillars and the gold trims with the small little potted plants in each corner, you all just hanging out, I imagine, on the sofas, waiting for Janus to arrive so Kevin can send you up the lift to the top penthouse floor. When Janus gets there, Kevin will step in behind him and fiddle with some of the buttons on the wall. The door will swing open with a little ping to reveal the nice, lush, golden interior of the elevator, and he'll gesture inside to you all. The penthouse suite for you again, sirs.
Thank you, my good man.
I do believe it is.
Janus will say, "Thank you, my good man," and he will go to pat him on the shoulder, but misses and pats him on the hand where he's holding the towel.
The hand drops slightly and he kind of catches it, readjusts the towel back up his arm, gives you a nod as you walk past him.
Walk past, I'm just going, I'm so sorry for him, Kevin. He's a huge lightweight, don't you?
I understand,
Lightweight.
sir.
600 gold.
And
Does
he-
Janus have a straw coming out of
Yes.
his helmet?
It's been dangling there for a
all
long
around.
time.
Logs of ale
You've
on
just
either
been-
side of his helmet with the straws coming down.
He's got the one long straw that just dangles there, and then he just sort of scoops a mug under into it.
Lovely. And you'll step into the area that Kevin follows you and pings the buttons to send you up to the penthouse suite where you arrive. It's lush apartment with a massive open space living plan, an open bar, open kitchen area with a lovely balcony with a swimming pool and some deck chairs. It's an infinity pool that's over the edge of the penthouse, if you recall, filled with all the lavishness that life has to offer. And you all have your own rooms. There is one spare this time, as Ivar is not with you. However, you can all reclaim the rooms. Well, there isn't one spare actually, because there was not a Wilston here last time, if I remember correctly. So Wilston, you can get Ivar's room. And
Nice.
what are you all going to be doing for the evening?
I immediately look around and go, now, something's missing here. Wander into my room and fill a hot bath, and then leave it in memory of Ivar. Because he's not here to enjoy it this time, but by God, is it going to be there?
Wilston, I've noticed your bag of holding is very useful. Where did you get that?
Get it? I just took a bag and made it a bag of holding.
Would you be able to make one for myself?
Do you have a bag?
I could fetch a bag.
Then I can make you one.
Incredible.
It'll take me a day though.
Okay. In which case I'll get you the bag when we have some time. I wish I'd have remembered on the journey over here. Thank you very much.
Well, you are a quite forgetful old man.
You know it.
You make that 2 bags of holding.
Can I? Do you mind if I were to borrow yours just for tonight?
What do you need it for?
I have something I need to store. I promise I will tell you. But for now, I just need to check that it works first.
Is it soil?
We all know what it is. I think we know what it is.
Do we?
I believe so.
I will reluctantly give you my bag, but before you do, I'm gonna take out my shotgun.
I believe your bag is completely full with lots of scrap bits of metal and tinkering equipment.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a bunch of garbage in there. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
You just dump it out across the penthouse suite.
You have somewhere to store it for now.
just open up a closet and start dumping shit in. Fucking pickaxe heads and fucking just come across a tooth. Oh, I forgot I kept this.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And I'm gonna head out for the night.
You're heading out for the night?
Well, I'll like how I did last time. I'll sleep outside and come and meet them in the morning because
Okay.
I only meditate for 4 hours anyway.
Okay. So it's 7. How aware are you when you're meditating?
That's I guess the rules. Let me have a look see if it says anything. Or if anyone knows, feel free to jump in.
I do, but do I remember? No.
Deeply remaining semi-conscious. Meditate deeply, remaining semi-conscious for 4 hours.
Okay, so say perhaps there was a group of people that walked into the
Something that I
golden
would like to
swan
do
that you would
before
recognise.
night.
That's fair enough. Just. Yeah. Do you want to do that first then? What are you doing?
Don't want to interrupt if we get into nighttime and
that's
then
fine,
go
that's
back
fine.
with
Yeah. That's alright.
knowledge. I would like to I was going to say I'm going to knock, but I'm not going to knock. I'm just going to walk straight into Avelios's room, and be like, something's bothering me. That doesn't usually happen.
I was changing, but sure. Hang on,
Seen
let me
far
find
better.
another. Yeah. Yes. I'm sure you have, but I'm the one with the mirror, so. See, look, full length. Stole that from your room.
I was wondering where it
Anyway,
went.
what
Gonna-
did you want to ask me?
I'm gonna walk in and
Exactly.
just like, flop down onto the bed, like fully kind of comfort focused here. Like lie back on it, just looking at the ceiling. And be like, why are we only staying here for one night?
Something expenses. The Queen doesn't control the treasury. Far Reach does.
Something, we're not expected to be here tomorrow.
I mean, did any of us send word ahead that we were coming back to Illyrians? I know Ingvar said he was setting off at once, but did anybody actually tell Far Reach?
Beyond maybe his people at the Black Cell. I don't recall. I've been distracted.
Either way, you do make a good point that we're not expected to be anywhere until tomorrow, and a conveniently luxurious suite does seem an easy way to fob us off.
A very small number of people are expecting us tomorrow.
That is true.
Usually, I would have bothered Ivar about this. I don't want
Yeah.
to sleep with no one watching my back.
And you chose me?
Oh, shut up. For all my sins.
Of which there are many, I'm sure.
Really, it's a very foolish decision then. What's yours?
Very well. You make a valid point. Do we want to do some exploring tonight? I mean, they're expecting us tomorrow. That kind of suggests that they have things that they'd like to be doing to get ready for us, as it were. And I don't think it's just celebratory planning.
This is kind of my concern. Is that they know exactly where all of us, and they made plain to say it was all of us, a room in Golden Swan just for tonight. Know where we all are. We have access. We have means. I don't trust any of them.
Far Reach does have more pens.
Whole collection, I think.
Exactly. If we wanted to find out what he was up to this time of night, either he's conversing deep in conspiracy with one crony or another, or he's at home.
Or we could. I mean, if they're expecting to catch us, if they're expecting, if there's a they, if anyone's expecting anything, they'll expect us to be asleep and not put up a fight. If
Well, in
Janus
that
and Alden
case,
know, we would rather catch them and be able to say we're fairly certain we know who's to blame.
if we want to prevent people from having too much of a free reign of the place, then I'd suggest we talk to Wilston, perhaps, or do you want to just keep an eye out and raise holy hell if anything happens?
You're good at raising holy hell.
I mean, I've got some blessed water left somewhere, but
The hell part that I was interested in, but of course,
well, you know.
could always. Admittedly, it's not the luxury that I would like. Janus has proved that the sofas in the central area are rather comfortable. We could all just watch each other's backs.
I mean, Janus is. I put my head out the door. Is Janus on one of the sofas currently?
Where else would he be?
I imagine he came in and
Yep.
just instantly flattened out on one of the sofas.
Yep.
Face down.
Did you take the time to like dirty up your armor before you sat down?
No, it is shiny.
Echoing
sofa.
snores from in the middle of the helmet.
I've
In-
snuggled my horns into the sofa though.
Well, one of us is already there. There's plenty of space. I was rather looking forward to the queen size that this room has to offer.
You can stay here and
But-
die if you like. I'm just no skin off my back.
I mean, no, it's more skin off mine, which admittedly is less appealing. So, I suppose you're right. As much as
Not
it
just being
pains me.
paranoid, am I?
I mean, maybe a little, but you're
Someone needs to be.
alive. Paranoia is healthy in small amounts, or something. I'm sure I heard that once. Probably
it.
from you.
I think I wrote that, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Well, tell you what. Why don't you go see if you can locate a Wilston, and I'll see if I can find Eric. I didn't see him about, but then again, if it's not an ocean, then I'm not looking at it. So
Been rather head down. Yeah.
yes, and I'm gonna scour the entire top floor for Eric, and then just kind of go. Eventually, ask one of the staff because be like, "Do you happen to know where Eric is? I mean, you guys know a lot about this place."
Well, yes, sir. He's just over there, and he points to one of the glass doors of the foyer to the. Presumably, you're just in the closest bit of grass and dirt, Eric, or have you gone off somewhere else?
So, like at this point, like all these conversations have been happening at the same time. So you'll probably just see me starting to walk off, back towards where I was before, back towards the cemetery. So yeah, you could easily follow and catch up with me. I'm not trying to lose people.
All right. Yep. Gonna jog up and be like, Eric. Good chap.
Yes.
Is there any particular place that you're heading to? I know that the rooms are luxurious. You're not great at anything that isn't natural, but how to put this? Could I disturb one good night's sleep for the sake of everybody's possible safety?
Yes, of course. What's your concern?
Well, it's less my concern, more Belleroc's concern, but he does make a valuable point, which is that if everybody was ordered sort of into the Golden Swan, then that puts us all in the same place at the same time for those parties who might have access to such a place. If you're catching my drift.
I share your unease at this place. It's actually why I was leaving for now. Yes, I will stay in the Swan tonight. There is something I would wish to do first. Now you can join. In fact, it's arguable that it would be helpful. But I would not force you to do anything.
I mean, you are a very capable and very talented person, and having you say that I will be helpful, well, I mean, who could possibly refuse? But if we could all be back at the Swan, and then that way we can all keep an eye out for each other, you know? best to have one another's back. But I would be delighted to accompany you wherever you may be going.
I think I could assist with the keeping eyes out and watching us. Come. I touched on this slightly when we were in the Great Divide. There are aspects of life and death in all that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not necessarily a negative thing. It's taken much self-reflection, but first, I'm not necessarily happy with actions of the past. I am more comfortable with who I am and what I can do. There are some things that I've only ever done when desperate, or accidentally. I agree that in this moment we are in a precarious situation, and I want to try something actively.
I see. This is sounding incredibly magical in nature. I am intrigued, and being of the ocean for a long time, I see what you mean, that there is life and death in everything. That which gives can also take, and where there is calm waters, there are storms.
Okay.
And to have this, to have you try this, whatever it may be, I am happy to have your back for. I know not the capabilities or anything, but if it stabilizes our position, then that can be no bad thing. And, well, my rapier is yours to command for tonight.
Gage, were you wanting to say something?
Well, I believe what you're trying to do is not what I thought you were going to do. I thought you were getting a bag of holding of dirt so you could sleep in it. However, I think I see what you're going for. So, what are you going to spend the next couple of hours doing then? Or the next hour, let's say.
Before it fades to black, anyone watching will hear me say to Avelios, "What do you know of necromancy?" And then fades to black.
So, I imagine you're going to be digging up some corpses.
I'm going to be bringing some up of their own volition and then storing them in the bag of holding as they don't need to breathe. To come out at another time.
Yes, so I mean, most of them will be skeletons, so they will not need to breathe. How many are you going to be able to have?
Skeleton bomb!
14.
14. Fucking hell. Okay.
Now we can come up with some other ways of doing it and rolling as groups or that sort of thing, but yeah, I don't think we're going to come
That's
to that
very
today
cool.
anyway.
You never know who attacks you whilst you're asleep in the
Skeletons
golden
in your
sun.
closet.
Okay, so
I've just written large text in my notes. Eric is a grave robber.
So you are collecting 14 skeletal corpses from the graveyard.
I
In the
am
bag of holding?
raising them as well. No, I'm raising them and then they're going into the bag of holding
Okay,
because it lasts 24 hours.
lovely. So, and you are helping with this, Avelios?
Yes, there's. I'm imagining there's a smash cut of Eric standing in the middle of the graveyard, like with a line of skeletons in front of him, raising them up with like dread necromancy and glorious technicolor, and sitting with like on a gravestone, looking absolutely knackered, is Ivelios with a shovel next to him and mud on his boots, just kind of watching. Fascinating. Yes.
You hold the bag of holding open wide, and they march into it one by one. The clanking feet of the skeletons. You pick the bag up, and are you all heading back to the Golden Swan? Lovely. You head back, probably about 7:30-ish, and you're going up to the penthouse suite to sleep up there. Lovely. Does anyone else want to be doing anything particularly interesting?
I wanted to go and see if I can find Wilston. Janus is already there. He doesn't seem like he's moving for a while, so that's great.
He's out cold.
Yeah, I'll go and find Wilston. And just explain everything and suggest we convene.
I will count on you to tell me when we leave, because I will probably forget. And I will, like, as I'm tinkering, I'll accidentally discharge right next to Belroc's face.
Oh god.
Just no good trigger discipline.
Wilson's going to be the death of us.
But I won't notice, so I'll just casually like keep going about my business. Like, that's not supposed to happen.
Lovely. So, as you three are just kind of settling down in the main room with all the sofas. Now, if queen-size sofas were a thing, then these would be queen-size sofas. So they are, very much large enough to sleep on, and there is a good amount of them in kind of like a bit more than a semicircle in the middle of the room. About 8:30, you get back. Bits of dirt probably spattering the edges of your clothing. Holding a presumably one of Wilson's shovels that you asked him to leave in the bag. As you place the skeletons in the closet and go into the main room to sleep for the evening, presumably. Unless you want to do anything else.
I think like I'll go round one by one and like try and forewarn people and explain potentially what might happen. I'm all about this communication and being honest with everyone. So yeah, I'll have a chat with some people.
Okay.
Well, Janus is asleep. She's going to wake up and be like, what the hell is going on?
Okay. So you have some conversations about the skeletons in your closet, and about half an hour later, at about 9 p.m, when you're just kind of settling down, ready to fully get to sleep, you'll hear a knocking at the door.
I'm going to look immediately at Avelios and be like,
I suppose I'll get it. And stand up and just put a hand on one of the daggers that he's got like strapped over him, and it's just kind of loosely on as he goes to open the door, so that if anyone he dislikes is on the other side, it can just sort of flick out.
Mm-hmm.
And then just go, is this room service? We did order crab.
No, it's not room service. It's an old voice of an elderly woman comes through the door.
Do I recognize this voice?
Do you want to make a history check? It's been a while.
Oh, I absolutely. Give me a second to check my modifier. History. Do not know who this is. That is a 6.
In the heat of the moment, you can't quite put a name to the face. Fuck! You can't quite put a face to the voice in the kind of the quickness of the moment.
Well, that is a pity, but I suppose you best come in. And I open the door, immediately go sheet white, and take like 2 steps back, so that I'm not in the doorway and holding the door open for her.
So you open the door, and the first thing that you probably see is 2 figures wearing full black, with red scarves around their necks. can see the obvious hilts of weapons around their shoulders. And then kind of in between them, back a few steps from that, is the Queen of Aleria. Very elderly woman. She's currently got a old knobbled walking staff that she's kind of propping herself up with. She's got both of her hands on it. She's kind of leaning on it slightly. She has a crown with her and still her kind of regal courtly outfit with a nice kind of pronounced neck garbs and the jewellery around her neck. She stands there and she kind of looks into the room, gives you a nod, and the procession starts to walk in. That's you.
Majesty.
She's gonna walk into a mess.
Yeah.
Dinner's still asleep.
Yeah, she walks in, kind of sees 4 people lounging across sofas, half asleep, looks around, spots a sofa that's empty, and she walks over to it and sits down and lets out a big sigh of relief. My legs aren't what they used to be, alas. Come, shut the door, Revelius.
Well,
Oh, she gestures. She looks to one of the guards that she walked in with. There was a letter for Janus in the letterbox downstairs. And the red guard pulls out a letter and puts it on the table. Is he asleep? Is everyone else
Jesse.
asleep as well? Who's asleep? Who's not asleep?
I'm probably asleep.
Okay. Belric.
When the queen came in, Beleric probably like jumped up and was all like court version of Beleric again. I think he's probably worryingly awake at this point.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for meeting you so late in the day and in such an unofficial capacity, but I felt like I would come through myself this time. Be safer. I trust you all are doing well. Actually, could we wake those people up?
on Janus's helmet.
Janus will slowly raise his hand and be like, yes.
Her Majesty, Janus.
He'll kind of like shuffle and like look behind him because he's facing the other way. He's like,
You'll just see the
And then
queen
sits
sat there with like her hands in her lap, very daintily, as she's sat there, legs crossed.
yeah, Janus will like sluggishly like sit himself up, like be like, nice to meet you, Majesty. Oh my god, I can't say it.
Well, you drunk.
Still drunk.
It's just some good roleplay. I don't have that excuse. Well, Queen gives you a nod. Janus, there was a letter for you. And she gestures to it on the table. Well, is he awake? And she points at Wilston.
He tried to shoot me earlier. I'm not waking him up.
Oh,
Janus is
Don't
gonna
know if he
lean
was
over.
joking.
Janus is gonna lean over and like bat him with his sword. Like he'll
Ow.
end.
What's happening?
Queen's here.
I was sleeping, man.
Wake up.
I'll like get up and notice that like I fell asleep, surrounded by all my tools, while tinkering.
It's like a little pet. I've got to bat him to wake him up.
so yes, we heard about your adventures in the south, and well, I would like to thank you for doing what I thought was best, but seems that it's not all gone to plan.
Quite.
Putting it nicely, yes.
Well, we left in the hope of getting new leads and information, and I believe that we've got that. We are much closer than we were. This
Oh, that's good to hear. Do you have anything that we might? Do you have anything to tell me that we might not know about?
it is likely that the what's the word? All I can think is assassination. But what is it when you steal a person?
Kidnap.
Kidnap.
Nothing.
Kidnapping?
Yeah.
An impolite
steal a
invitation.
Yeah, the force would have come most likely from the Hell's Gate ship, which we have now commandeered ourselves. It led to a part in the demon homeland. It is closed off for now, but it gives us an indication of where His Majesty's location is.
Or possibly, at least.
Yes, the ship. There was a bit of a commotion about that one. Some commoners came by it and they were quite shocked, to say the least. But it is under your command now. She looks at Evelios.
Yes. We have the capabilities to steer it where we wish.
Lovely. Well, I thought I would come and speak to you before the meeting tomorrow because, well, you will learn it tomorrow, but we believe that there are, sure you probably knew this already, but traitors amongst the council.
Surely not.
Better
Sorry,
just
man.
laughs.
Well, the word always gets out, even these closed meetings that we have. So we're just trying to be as cautious as possible. And, well, I just for one thought I would forewarn you that Reach is very annoyed.
Is this about the Black Cell?
Yes, he's very upset.
Said he failed.
I understand he was subsidised very well by the Crown for commanding that cell. An unfortunate loss, alas.
Oh dear.
I assure you the cell wasn't very effective anyway.
Well, it would seem not, from what we've heard. Alas.
Makes you wonder where the ground subsidy went instead of on adequate protection measures. But the ramblings of a seafarer. I know naught of politics on land.
She nods at you. Alas. Well, I have some information that I think would be useful. We have learned of a fellow here in the city who has a unique set of skills that we think might be quite useful on wherever you might be going. I'm not sure where you're planning to go next, but I believe Far Reach has some plans for you, and I think that we could maybe help with that. If you think...
A man with a certain set of skills. Are you talking of Liam Leeson?
I'm not so sure on his name. My brain is getting older. I'm sure you can understand.
Of course.
May I ask you a question, Your Majesty?
By all means.
You said that there's potentially traitors amongst the council. If you were to hazard a guess, who do you think they would be?
I would not want to incite a witch hunt.
The Queen knows Janus well enough.
What? I don't know what you mean.
Janus is
Deck
like,
them with Jagarath's head.
yeah. He just puts a sword on his shoulder. So, about these traitors?
Looking for a friend.
Either way, I think that the next step is probably going to be descending into the demon lands. as it's clear by now that my husband is not still around here, I feel he's still alive somewhere and I still would like him back. It is very important.
I would just find a new husband.
Jadis is gonna
Yeah.
like slap Wilson.
Can we do a dexterity save to see if we can like slap him before he finishes that sentence?
Yeah. We all make this.
It's up to you guys if you
I
want
would
to.
simply just fall.
It's up to you guys if you want it to be a roll or what. What do you guys want to do?
If Elios isn't gonna bother stopping Wilston, he wants to see where this is going.
It's up to you, Doom. Do you want people to roll off, or do you want? What do you want?
Roll over, bro.
Go for it.
We're just rolling straight decks.
Yeah.
Great decks.
What do you want?
Against my athletics?
Yeah.
Acrobatics?
Yeah, you can go for athletics if you want to, like, dodge out the way to try and get the words out.
Nah, I'm not trying to dodge. I'm just sitting still, so it'll just be my.
Oh,
Okay.
you haven't done well here, Eric.
At least the queen sees us trying to stop this madman.
Yeah. What are you rolling then, Doom?
I'll just roll a d20.
Okay.
See what the. Oh, well.
A natural one. Okay.
So from either side, me and Eric just.
So you probably get out, why don't you? And then the rest of the sentence is cut off. And the queen looks over at you, confused. Sorry, what was that? I can't hear you on account of the hands.
I wouldn't worry about it, Your Majesty. He's just asking silly questions.
Ah, okay.
It's you rubbing the back of my head, and I'll be like, I'll sit down, like follow for like 2 inches down to my buttocks, and just like cross my arms and frown, just like.
Adorable toddler.
Well,
Because they are big and I am small, and it's not fair.
Jigglypuff going, really makes that.
It's exactly like that, yeah.
Well, tomorrow in the meeting, Far Reach will encourage you all to lead an assault upon Bastion. I believe that Ingvar will second that notion, as it is his homeland, his pride of the people. I, however, do not think that will be within our best interests. And I think a mission of infiltration will get us what we want a lot quicker. Am I
He
making
also
sense?
avoids needless death as well, from our side at least.
Yes, and that too. But we have learned some interesting things whilst you guys have been gone. Namely around the currency of the demons. It leads to some interesting opportunities.
Oh, yeah, I have one of their soul catchers.
Are you pulling it out?
Yeah, I pull it out and like kind of like wave it.
And she looks at it and then looks at the two red guards next to her. One of them walks over and kind of puts his hand out. Can I have a look at it, please?
Gives it over.
The red guard takes it over to the queen, and the queen takes a look. Wow. Fascinating. She gives it back. He comes back and gives it to you. Well, we've acquired this. The other red guard pulls a scroll out from his robe somewhere and pushes it across the table. And those of you who are magical creatures, would you like to roll an Arcana?
Proficient in it, but I am magical.
If you're not, yeah, if you can cast spells, you can. I think you can all cast spells, so you can all roll it.
19.
13.
Natural
Now-
1 for 5.
Lovely.
Where's my Arcana?
I know
Do
nothing.
an joined question.
Wilston!
Wilston with a 28. What are you saying? What did you say? Sorry, Hal?
I was going to ask actually to help explain away my nat one. Can I try and notice what the guards are doing kind of with all this? Are they staying quite close by her, or are they kind of
Yeah, they're
walking
staying
around,
close.
like by the door, by the window?
There's two of them, and they're both staying either side of her. Apart from when they were going over to grab the thing off Janus and putting the skull on the table, and that they're staying right next to the Queen, close within range to be able to protect her should anything go wrong.
Cool, thank you.
So as this scroll is pushed across the table, Wilston, well, anyone who rolled above 12, so Janus, Eric, Wilston, what did Vilius roll?
A natural 1, so it's a very excellent parchment. I mean, it's beautiful.
Did you both get a natural one?
No idea what's on it. But...
Oh, okay, you both got
Yep,
natural ones.
2 nat
So,
ones.
you guys all recognise this pretty much instantly as a magical scroll. Everyone who got above a 12 will recognise that it is higher level magic than you guys can cast. Wilston, you've heard of this. Heard of this level of magic. It is around the 7th circle. In fact, it is at the 7th level of magic. With a 28, you are fairly confident of this. It's a very powerful spell scroll as it's pushed across the table.
I will immediately try and grab it.
Yeah, you can pick it up. Well, that's a scroll that our artisans have managed to put together. Which...
It's a really nice one.
It is indeed. Our artisans did a good job. It is, as I understand, I'm not sure if I'll get the wording right, but a spell of mass soul absorption. Something along those lines. It allows for the collection of souls in a very wide area. Very wide indeed.
Do you know how it works?
Well, just the same as any scroll. You tear it in half.
But
You
does
spend
it
6
just...
seconds to tear it in half and the magic works.
But does it like collect everyone's soul in the area, or like?
You can
Well,
see Wilson looking at the paper, tempted.
Wilson, don't do it.
Oh, well, presumably it follows whatever laws are normally held by the collection of souls. We understand that there are some limits to this. We haven't been managed to get out as much information as we would like. But don't think he collects every soul, just those of ones that you have killed, if I understand correctly.
Okay. My worry has been subsided.
So, to be clear, you're saying that it does not create extra souls, i.e. kill, but it does absorb those that have already been killed.
Yes.
That is very good to know.
You need to have, I believe, killed a creature and then use the object that Janus has to acquire a soul, and that is what the demons use as money.
Yes.
And together with a gentleman that we have recently met called Jackson, nice man, we have the beginnings of an infiltration mission.
This Jackson, I may have heard of him. Does he have 4 siblings?
I would not know. All I know is that he's very good at what he does.
Very well.
This the fellow you were mentioning earlier?
Yes. He's a carver. We can show you his work if you would like.
Carver of what?
Yeah. She gestures to the door. And one of the red guards goes and walks over to it. He opens the door and leaves the room. We'll just show you his work. And after a few minutes or so, maybe 3 minutes of tense silence, the door handle clicks down, and the door is pushed open. To reveal a creature standing in the doorway. A creature that you are quite familiar with. Most of you guys have killed many of these in your time. A big, fleshy, red-skinned demon is stood in the doorway. About 6 foot tall. Naked, wearing no clothes. It's not like any demon you've ever seen. It's not like a bearded devil or any demons that you've seen before. It looks like an individual in its own right. As it stands in the doorway, you then see the red guard behind it. And they walk into the room. And the queen goes, there we go.
Evelios has a knife in his hand. It is made of silver and in a throwing position.
The queen looks at you all to gauge your reaction when she sees this. Oh, don't worry, he's a human.
Disguise. He crafts disguises.
That he does. Real ones as well.
Belaric's gonna walk up and kind of inspect it. Like, he can do disguise magic, so he's like seen this. He's like, whoa.
The demon is looking at you. They look like a person themselves. And then you walk up to them. They look at you and they give you a nod.
Touch sounds insensitive.
Yes, of course, mate. Go for it. It's not really my skin.
I reach out and just kind of touch shoulder, see if it way like magic does, or if it's like a.
As you touch it, you feel the texture of normal flesh underneath your fingers.
As Beleric is doing this, Evelios said disguise, and I'd like to try and peer through and see if I can spot what Jackson really looks like, as if I'm looking through an illusion.
Okay, so perception then?
Cool. 23.
23. You're looking very hard. Very hard. And if this is an illusion, it is exceedingly convincing. As despite how hard you look, all you see is real flesh. You see Belaric's hands touching it, and you see the skin itself indenting as his hands are touching the skin. You see the tiny hair follicles as his hands brush over the arms. You can see the creature as it breathes, the muscles move underneath the skin. And there's slight twitches that make it seem exceedingly realistic. It does not look like an illusion whatsoever. The queen herself, at this point, is kind of sat back a little bit with a smile on her face.
How have you made this? I assume you can do it on all of us as well if it's going to be an infiltration mission, but how long have you been able to do this?
Oh, I'm not Jackson, sorry. I'm just like a display model.
Immediately lost interest, wandering off.
He looks over at the queen with like a confused look. Okay.
Poor guy.
Sir, you are magnificent.
Thank you.
Fret not.
I don't think I get to keep it though. He looks at the red guard next to him. The red guard shakes his head.
Where did you get changed?
And the queen speaks up. I think with a combination of Jackson's skills, a small battalion of soldiers, and a large amount of souls, you could procure some land on the other side and indulge yourself in whatever demons do. Engage in their societies, work your way up in their hierarchies, and try and find my husband. I think it would be a lot quicker. I think it would be the smartest decision.
Seems fine with me.
it's a rather long-term goal. If
Well, yes.
Your Majesty deems that acceptable.
I believe it will be quicker than slaughtering your way through millions and millions of demons and orcs.
It would just bring about another war.
I understand that we are running out of resources on this island. I do not think another great siege would be beneficial for us. I have a man who can go with you, Maximus, a battalion leader with 10 or so soldiers, and you can do whatever you deem fit to become one with them. Explore their lands, befriend their people, and as I said, see what you can do.
This Maximus, what's his skill set, if you will?
He's an ex-Red Guard. Assassin. He was the commander, but there is an age limit and he is past that now. But he's a good, strong man. Knowledgeable. And he'll be able to hold down whatever land you can purchase.
Perfect.
During this, Bellarix probably got back up again and has walked over to like the window or something to just look out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any more information you need to tell us, or?
Well, we can take you to Jackson whenever you want, and you can become whatever you would like.
Character creation.
Wilston could be 4 foot tall. 3.
I don't want to be taller.
I want to be shorter. Well, maybe it's best that we go there after the meeting tomorrow then.
Well, of course. It will take some time for Jackson to prepare your shifting, and I imagine you would all like to learn the language of the enemy, as I imagine it'll be quite important.
Of course.
We can't have you walking around speaking the
Useful.
common tongue, can we? And I imagine once you get to their side of the world, it'll be quite hard for you to get anything from this side, so you'll need to take with you as much as you think you will need.
We shall go shopping whilst we can.
Yes, I hope you will go with my idea. As I said, he's my husband, and I have his best interests at heart, in the best interest of everyone.
Also, you are the queen. Farreach and Ingvar are of little consequence when you wish something to be done. All I add is that you exercise caution with the two of them. We have reason.
I'm confident they are both trustworthy.
Okay. In which case, I will trust your judgment.
Thank you. Well, it's getting late, and I'm an old lady now. I will be looking to retire to my rooms, if that is all.
That is fair. It is pleasant to have you here.
Yes. I hope that letter isn't anything too bad. Chayas,
I hope.
I will see you later. She gets up. The Red Guards hand her a stick, and they open the door. And when she gets to the door, she turns around. gestures to the demon who stood there. Would you like me to take him away with me? Or would you like to inspect more?
Please take him away.
Understandable. And they walk out of the room. You hear the ding of the elevator doors and a slight rumble as it starts to descend to the lower floors.
James will finally read this letter now.
You pick up the letter from the table, and if you go into your journal
Oh,
and have a look in there,
That's cool.
which one are you, Enigma? You will now be able to see a letter, which you can read. What is everyone else going to be doing?
Frantically writing down things we've learned. I think for the moment, I don't think Beleric probably actually turned around when the Queen left. I think he's kind of solidly just doing a bit of a 1,000-yard stare out the window.
Mhm.
I think he kind of zoned off a little bit. Sorry, zoned out a little bit
Mm-hmm.
in the last chunk of conversation.
Okay.
So he's probably still just stood there, lost in thought.
If Elios
Uh,
wanders up, like, looks around the side, passes his hand in front of his face.
Can I help you?
Could we pop back into the room for a second?
Of course.
Just for a smidgen. It is a rather nice view, though, if you were looking at it.
Of course. Follow back in.
All right. I just tap him on the shoulder.
Turn around and walk back. The grin, like there's a smile now.
When Belle's alone, Eric will go up to them, but that'll be in the future.
Okay. Well, are you all retiring for the evening, or is there more discussion to be had?
I think I'd make a rather handsome demon.
Janus is just going to quietly nod.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Janus is going to stow away the letter and he's going to retire to his room.
Okay. What's Wilston doing?
I mean, Wilston is probably just gonna go up to his room as well. After getting all this info just dumped on him.
Okay. All
And
right.
he's still wondering why she just doesn't find a new husband.
Yourself, you're volunteering there, Wilston.
Maybe.
Okay.
And Evelios goes, if we're taking watches, then I'm not first. And immediately looks, like, just flops into the largest sofa that you can find, which was probably just vacated by Janus, and proceeds to fall asleep, just fully clothed, just, no, had enough for today.
Okay.
Belle, is there something on your mind?
Yes. I'd be going undercover. In amongst a group of demons. In a place where I theoretically would be welcome anyway.
Mm.
And In the interest of honesty, I have reason to believe that there's some dispute among the orcs, at least. Don't know whether that encompasses the demons too. They're not a united force. I was wondering whether the Queen knew that we were going in with friends on their side. Or if the Queen knows that and we're going to crush them.
Oh,
Oh, he's back.
Interesting. In your knowledge, were the orcs and the demons always in? It seems like we would be going into the hells. Is that somewhere the orcs also frequent?
Do I know that?
Well, the orcs originated from the top of Valerians. The demons came from some realm underneath. So, I mean, it's likely that some of them might have gone down, but I think the majority of them would have stayed above ground.
I'll relay that. Say, I only imagine that the ones who are working together, I know that the demons are comfortable enough in orc territory. I see no reason to see that it would be different otherwise.
Bellaruk, help me. Please correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm just seeking to understand. Are you fearful of going to a place that you fought so hard to come from, or going to a place you hate and have tried to be so different from, and trying then to fit in?
no.
When I find an answer to that, Eric, I'll let you know.
There is nothing. This will be scary. All I would say is we are all going in there with disguises physically so that we can fit in. It is not a disguise in merely appearance. It is a disguise in behavior, morals, and how we act. And in order to live in the demon realm, you, among all of us, need that disguise most, as it is furthest from who you are.
Eric, I have a great deal of respect for you. That might be the first truth I've told in a long, long time. With all the respect in the world, I don't think many people know who I am. I think I do. I think I'm scared of going there in a disguise and finding out it wasn't one.
I understand. It is terrifying. And whilst you fear that, I do not fear it in you in the slightest.
Not.
Yes. No, I have no fear that you will struggle with this. You will thrive as you have in all aspects of your life. The difficulty is what has made you so potent.
have a question for you.
Yes.
If we go there and we find people like me, want of a better word, people who are caught up in a whole nonsense for no other reason than it being their birthright, what do we do then? How do we justify not slaughtering them?
I think this is a discussion for the group, and we can come up with things together, ways that we can deal with situations. I think this is not something where we can come up with a fix in 1 hour of discussion. This will require thought, but it is an important information that we must allocate the requisite amount of thought for.
Thank you.
Okay.
Don't know if there is an answer to it either, but thank you.
Take a nap, I'll take first what?
Well, as you all settle down to sleep for the night, filled with thoughts of might what be the future, preparing yourselves for tomorrow's meeting with a couple of big shots in town. What kind of watches are you taking? Eric takes first watch. We'll just need one more person to take a watch if you want to. Okay, lovely.
I'll go. I'll take that one, yeah.
So, on your watches, you won't notice anything particularly out of the ordinary. You might encounter the cleaning staff that come in to replenish your towels in the dead of night. Other than that, you all wake up in the morning, maybe not as refreshed as you would like to be, but with a sense of anticipation and ready to get going for the day. Is anyone going to be doing anything before your meeting with people?
I would like to write a letter. I will send you the contents
Lovely. I'm glad.
imminently.
I was hoping you would. That works perfectly. Okay. Anyone else for anything else?
If Elios wakes up from where he's on the sofa and goes, I am so stiff. Is it time for my watch yet? It is morning. I need
Everybody
to get
else
changed.
here back, or is it just me again?
What was that?
We can hear him.
We can hear him, yep.
Tentacles.
Oh dear. Technology, eh?
I could just see kind of really dramatic movements. I was like, nothing's happening.
That's not what you normally do.
I'll
Yeah, try leaving
disappear and come back again.
Lovely. Well, not lovely, but hey ho.
I apologize for the state of my Wi-Fi.
It's alright.
It's fine.
I think it might be a HAL issue if we can all hear you.
Yeah, but I think it's me dropping out and coming back again that messes up HALs. So
Maybe.
is that any better, Hal?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well. Bellerock spends the morning writing a letter. Wolston,
I
are you
mean,
doing anything?
he's just gonna be sat tinkering until he falls asleep, like in between all his tools again.
Oh, it's already morning.
Oh, well then
You-
he'll wake up surrounded by his tools.
Are you doing
Compute.
anything before the meeting that you have today?
He'll probably take a break from tinkering and just wander around the castle, finally taking a look at where the fuck he is. Like no,
You're in the Golden
Oh,
Swan,
house.
the penthouse suite.
yeah, the penthouse, not
Yep.
the castle.
Yep.
Same shit. Penthouses are modern castles. Put that on a t-shirt.
I don't know, I'd rather own a castle than a penthouse, I'm not gonna lie. Be pretty cool. Okay, so
And he'll grab breakfast.
yeah, they'll bring in a buffet of breakfast, and come around 11, a messenger will come and invite you to one of the meeting rooms in the palace. And they're going to lead the way if you would like to follow them. Or they can just give you an address and you can make your way there yourselves. It's up to you entirely.
Wonderful.
I suppose we follow.
Okay. So you
No
make
reason
your
to
way,
be.
you make your way out of the Golden Swan through the streets of Illyrians, past a couple of street performers who are already starting to do their own renditions of the slaying of the Melangor, the song that Beleric has invented.
I'm going to
Obviously,
chuck a
they're
couple of coins their way.
lovely. Obviously, they're not quite as good as you. However, they are doing their best from the word of mouth that they heard from you singing yesterday.
If there are like 3 of them, I'll chuck 2 gold at each of them.
That works. And you make your way through the pristine streets towards the huge palace that covers most of the skyline in Illyrians. Big white piers kind of blot out most of the ceiling. The ceiling? The skyline. As you approach it, you walk along the drawbridge that leads over the moat, past some of the guards clad in the white and gold armour of an Illyrian knight, into the castle itself. And you're led through a series of corridors, past the grand throne room that you met in previously, into some smaller corridors with low hanging ceilings, to a pair of double wooden doors reinforced with iron bands. They look quality, quite sturdy, but not as impressive as the doors to the throne room. And the messenger will give it a knock, and you'll hear a "Come in" from a voice that you were hearing late last night. And he'll open the door to reveal a small-ish room, still quite large, with a circular table in the middle, on which you can see a map of Illyrians and about 10 seats surrounding it, upon which one of them holds King Ingvar, who is on a different chair to the rest of them. It looks to be custom, made of stone, inlaid with jewels, and a little bit taller, so he is the same height as everyone else. I can't hear you, Hal.
It's okay, I'm
Okay.
being sarcastic under my breath. It's all good.
Oh, we've lost a Michael. Oh, we've got a Michael back. Lovely.
Like flies.
Yes, Ingvar sat on a stone chair, inlaid with jewels, at the same height as everyone else. The Queen is sat at the centre at the far side of the room, and to her left is sat a fella that has probably haunted most of your nightmares for the past couple of weeks since you met him. A simple councilman. He's a tiefling. Kind of pale reddish skin, wearing purple robes with golden filigree, and deep orange eyes that seem to hold the cosmos itself. He's got quite long sideburns with a little beard down the middle of his chin. And he's smiling devilishly at you as you walk into the room. Lord Farreach. Councilman Farreach, whatever you wish to call him. They all give you a nod in greeting, and the Queen gestures at the seats. Please, legends, take a seat. And behind you, you hear the door as it shuts.
James will be the first one to sit down.
If Elios leans on the back of a chair, just kind of like over the edge of it.
Janus is actually going to go sit nearby Far Reach.
Yeah, you can sit right next to him if you want. His
Yep.
eyes follow you as you walk towards him. Eyes narrowed. His devilish grin, it flickers slightly in between a devilish grin and a look of pure anger, as the corners of his lips kind of twitch down and his eyes narrow slightly before he regains himself and looks his lordly self again. He tries to give you a polite nod, but it ends up looking really quite stiff and jerky as you sit next to him.
I'll nod back to him and then look at the rest.
I was gonna take Janus's cue and go and sit next to Ingvar.
Ingvar is busy just filling with some of the jewels on the chair that he's sat on, not really paying attention to anyone as you walk over. Hello. Legends. Yes, well, nice to see you again. I trust you enjoyed your night at the Golden Swan.
Really comfortable,
Spectacular.
thank you, yes.
Lovely.
Was
Oh.
quite comfy.
Just another
Beats being
gift
on a
from
ship,
me
sir.
for killing the Melangor. One last gift. I felt you deserved it. Hope you enjoyed it. Well, he looks at the rest of the group. I believe we are ready to begin this meeting, are we not? And almost as soon as he says that,
Indeed.
far reach, you hear from him the screeching of a chair as he stands up. And his polite smile is fading very, very quickly, and he looks exceedingly angry. Yes, I believe we are. And the topic of discussion is your betrayal, Legends. What say you in your defence?
I believe the prosecution goes first.
So be it.
It's always helped to understand what you're being accused of.
I accuse you of infiltrating the Black Cell, releasing a prisoner, and then slaying him outside for no reason whatsoever. We had information we could have gathered from him. Still, information that would have been vital in winning the war. Now he's dead.
To be
All
fair,
thanks to
he
you.
would have already kind of escaped because there was a tunnel with like 5 centimeters of wall left,
I've
and
heard
he
of
could
no
get out
such
of his.
tunnel. All I know is he was safe there for 15 years until you walked upon its gates.
In
Well, he
which
was safe
case,
because they were digging the
my
tunnel.
lord, my lord, in which case, first of all, one should never prosecute without all of the facts, which there appear to be a few lacking here. We will happily verify under oath anything that you wish. But the other thing is that we're accused, one, of infiltration, which is pertinently false, as we had rite of passage signed by, well, those who were in a position of authority to do so. And B, we did not release Yagarath, he simply chose to leave himself. We did not touch any of his bindings, and again, this will all be sworn under oath, magical if necessary.
About halfway through what
Please,
you were
do not
saying,
jump to conclusions.
his eyes narrow into very thin slits. And he looks at the Queen. And then looks back at you. Right. Okay. He looks back at the Queen. The Queen kind of gives a little shrug. He looks back at you. Well, I care not about jail time or prison sentences. I only wish you resume your original plan of assaulting the Bastion. Hear, hear. You hear from Ingvar. That is all I care about. All who agree say aye. And he raises his hand. Ingvar
Nay.
also raises his hand.
Dennis stands up and raises his hand.
Nay.
Eric says, it looks like no one said aye.
Aye.
People have simply put their hands up.
Jada says aye.
Okay. Wilson, what are you voting on this? Bear in mind that you are not continuing the campaign any further. So, if you were looking for a reason to not continue, then this might be a good one.
What are my options here?
Your options are to agree with Farreach and assault the Bastion, which is not what the party want to do, or not, or disagree. and go with what the party want to do.
But we could split up here.
So are you agreeing with the thing that might take you away from the group in a reason that makes sense, or do you want to come up with a reason later on?
I am sorry, comrades, but I swore to protect my people, and I feel that joining the Bastion is my calling in this situation.
So Wilston, he also raised his hand. So I believe we have a Janus, a Wilston, an Ingvar, and a Farreach, which makes 4.
I have been involved with the fight in the war in the north for almost 100 years. This is a time-pressured task, and if we repeat our actions of the past, we cannot expect any different results. I believe if we are to find success in this mission, we must come at it from a new angle.
Well, now we have you legends together as one, as we've not had before, and I believe that will make all the difference. It is a tied vote, 4-4. Does anyone wish to change their mind?
By all means, go ahead.
Well, he looks at you, Janus. Why do you say yes?
I believe we need to exterminate the demons and their orc allies.
The Queen looks at you with a look of slight betrayal and confusion, Janus.
Janus doesn't even acknowledge her. He doesn't look her way.
Okay. And the Queen goes,
He's still got his helmet on as well.
and the Queen goes, are we not able to explore other options, perhaps? And Farich goes, no, I like what your plan is, Janus. You have thought it out clearly, I believe, and you are with us on this one. Good.
Yes, sir.
It is 4-4. Would you like to flip a coin?
Eric is concerned because he does not want Janus going off on his own towards the demons, because with no one else around him, that is going to end badly. Yes, it's going to end up Bellumly.
Okay. Well, the Queen speaks up. Flip a coin when we haven't even heard the other side of the argument? That does not make any sense. Have we not got another line of options we can perhaps explore? What have the legends got to say, as they are, after all, the ones embarking on this mission? Do you not have another
Or
plan?
Janus, you want the same thing we want, but fighting on the wall has not brought us that outcome in hundreds of years.
Do you even know what I want? He snaps back at Eric.
I fear not anymore.
Then you have your answer.
Well, we have been doing some investigation. The Queen speaks up. We believe, she looks at the legends, we might have another avenue into finding the king, do we not?
Her Majesty raises an excellent point, which I would like to bring back around to Councillor Farich's original point, which was the proposition that we were originally brought together to storm and retake the Bastion, which I was not aware was the original purpose of our summons. We were here to locate the king. I am not a naval warrior. I am not a military man. I know naught of warfare and logistics and such like, so why should I be part of something that is not only runs counter to my nature, but counter to the original intent of finding the king and quickly to restore him to the throne.
Well, what is your nature then? What is your plan? What do you think you can accomplish? How do you think you can rescue the king without fighting your way through the legions of demons? I say no other way. They must have
That
him
is
by now.
because perhaps they do, and therefore perhaps we must go get him. But
Of course.
unless you can stand against 1,000,000 demons, Chancellor? Can you?
Of course. I
Do you know
cannot.
of any
I'm
warrior
not a
who
soldier.
can?
I believe you can.
Exactly.
You are the legends. The strongest people who we've ever had in this land.
I'm not a soldier, as you pointed out of yourself. There need not be only brute force to solve a problem. Should there be another option, I mean, I myself have given pause to the demons upon the sea, not through force of might. I did not ram my ship into Hell's Gate over and over. I did not find Hell's Gate on the ocean and smash to smithereens. No, I sought beyond. I sought to help, to go the next step in the plan. It matters not where they are, but where they will be. To reinforce, to protect after what has come. You think around the problem. Call it subterfuge, call it trickery, call it what you like, but it is effective and it requires less slaughter on both sides, for Aleria has been fighting for a long time. And how many people do we have left?
We have you.
How
You
many
think-
must we sacrifice?
You think 4 poncy weirdos in fancy flashy suits can walk past the demons and pick the king up, do you?
Well, I would hardly call Janus's
yourself.
outfit poncy, but
I mean, yes, it's
there are
practical.
ways and means of making ourselves look like them.
Yes, you can deceive
Know
millions
know
of demons
know
with
your
magic.
enemy.
Of course. How
It
did we
is
not think of this
It is
before?
possible. It is
Respect,
possible.
councilman. Some of us don't need to disguise ourselves.
Yes, I know
Already
that
have a
much.
way in if you need it. Say it.
This is Eric raising his hand.
No, this is me. Carry on, I don't want to interrupt.
Well, the Queen speaks up. Well, Farich, we do have some new technology, in fact, that we were just... Well, that we think could help us on this mission. Farich goes, technology? What can technology do? It's a waste of our time.
So, what I was putting my hand up, Eric is intently looking at Janus and would like to just, even though you can't see his face, so this could be at disadvantage if you want. He wants to pass whether this is some sort of plan by Janus or if this is something he truly wants.
Okay. Do you guys want to roll off then? Or do you just... How do you guys want to do this as player versus player?
Ooh.
You can just tell Eric what you might see, or you can roll for it. It's up
Yeah,
to you guys.
I'll just tell Eric what he sees.
Okay.
So what are you looking for?
I'm looking to see if this is truly what you want, or like I'm racking my brain because I've been so thrown off by the actions, by the language you're using, like orc stuff, and I'm just trying to see whether is this a play for you to get closer to Far Reach for a truth serum, or is there some reason that I can make in my head why this might be happening?
So, from what you can tell from Janus, at least, is this is not something he really wants. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. It's not something he wants, but
Okay,
it seems
so
like it's siding with him.
I imagine what you probably see is Janus being a little bit fidgety and maybe grasping at a piece of parchment in his hands quite rigorously, maybe looking around quite what's the word, like sporadically around the room. That'll probably be what you see to determine that. Well, we think we have a convincing disguise that could allow the legends to, well, as you said, Ivelios, subterfuge, infiltrate, go on a mission that would not require the death of many, many people. We think that would be a better idea. And Forage goes, "Oh, we do we? Of course, you've spoken to them before this. Go on then. What is it? What is this magical one thing fixes all problems that you've got for us?" And the Queen goes, "Oh, well, we can show you if you want." "Sure. Show me. Change my mind." And the Queen gestures to the door and looks at Eric. "If you please, could you go and fetch my friend from outside?"
Okay. He's just got so many things going around his head, and he's gonna go outside, and the whole time he just keeps looking over his head towards Janus, but he has no idea what to do.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going out.
When you walk
This
outside,
demon just waiting outside every set of doors, just being like, they're gonna get me in a minute. It's my time to shine.
you peek your
People
head
just
out of the
walk
door.
past him in the hall and immediately start crying.
There's this huge naked demon, like, they'll call for me in a minute, I swear.
Yeah, you look left and right down the corridor, and to the right there is the demon fellow that you saw yesterday, flanked by 2 red guards waiting outside, and they all look at you and turn and look at you.
I'll
Lovely.
beckon them in.
The demon walks into the room, and Farage and Ingvar all jump slightly. Ingvar kind of like recoils in his sleep a bit, in his chair a bit, and Farage takes a kind of step back from his seat in kind of shock. "What is this? Deception!" He looks around the room at no one else really being confused.
Evelios smirks.
"I see. You're all traitors."
Dear friend, and I look at the demon fellow. Would you mind telling the councilman who you are?
"Oh, well, hello, mate. Yeah, my name's Carl." He kind of gives a really awkward wave. He's not quite used to the form of the demon, and it looks a little bit kind of like awkward. Forage looks around. Huh. And he walks back towards the table and around the table towards the demon and starts poking it, prodding it, just like you guys did. For a couple of moments, the Queen speaks up. "We can do this for all of the legends and a small group of people. We think that the best play would be to send all of the legends into hell with these disguises, so that they can infiltrate, acquire some land, political power, sway, weave themselves into the higher ranks, find where the king is, and bring him out."
Whilst this is going on, so Eric beckoned them in. Whilst he's outside, he is casting Pass Without Trace, and he is going to. He's been racking his brain the whole time. He's going to try, and again, this is a PvP thing, so it's up to Janus. He's going to try and stealth in and steal the letter.
I will
It's
roll
all
again.
he can think of for any context.
Okay.
If it's allowed.
I mean, Janus said he wants to roll for it, so I
Yeah.
think that would be a perception then against your stealth. Or sleight.
I've still got
Okay.
I've got bardic I've got bardic inspiration as well, don't I?
You do. Oh wait, no, no, I gave that to you
Ah.
yesterday.
So
Ah,
Ah,
unless you regain
it
it
over.
again for your intimidation of throwing the head at far reach.
no, hang on.
Right.
No, sorry, that's if you roll it and it fails, then you get to keep it, not
Mhm.
time-wise. Yeah, sorry.
You want to give me your perception, and I'll tell you. I'll roll the stealth.
okay. Wait, so am I not adding bardic inspiration? Ah,
Nope.
okay. Perception.
I can't imagine you getting
14.
a guidance from Eric at this point either.
Oh, there
That's
we
a
go.
30.
14 against 30. So Janus paying rapt attention to the Queen as she's giving a speech. Presumably doesn't notice the letter slip out of his hand into Eric's.
I'm going to read it, and going to be shocked.
Well, if you look in
And-
your journal, you can read the letter on Foundry.
Let's have a look.
For context, sorry, just so I can picture your brain, are we all sat in a circle, or is it like a ring?
Yeah, yes,
Sorry,
it's-
or like a semicircle? Did you say?
It's a circular table with a map of Illyrians in the centre. So you two are sat kind of at the far end. Some of the others are sat there, and there's some tables in between. And then Michael, I assume, has just kind of ducked around underneath the table
Yeah.
behind the demons.
Yeah,
Slithered
okay.
In between Far-Reach's legs.
So, continuing my slithering around, I'm going to be under the table, and I'm going to go to Beleric and Ivelios and like poke it up above the table so
Okay.
we can have a little read, and we're all in on this.
In that
This
case-
is too much for me to take ownership of.
I'm just imagining you like
then.
slithering like the Grinch. Like,
The reverse stealing presents. So both of you guys are just sat there, and then suddenly you see like some motion underneath you as you see a piece of paper is slipped into your vision. And if you go into the journal on Foundry, top right, it's the image of the book. And in your player's stuff folder, there will be something called Janus Letter, which you should all be able to read. Well, I could actually just show you all the letter, in fact.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the letter.
Come on, Foundry, load, please.
Do you want me to just send you it on Discord?
Please.
Okay.
I can't take this.
very dark around me. I'm just gonna turn my light on.
mood is getting dark.
Darkness.
There you go. That is the letter in your DMs, my friend.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. I can put it in the group chat as well. There you are.
Help at all.
Mm. Evelios glances at it, looks at Janus. Oh boy.
After the Queen finishes her speech, Far-Reach will kind of step away from the demon and walk back to where his seat is and stand behind it, not sitting down. And look around at everyone, who is now decidedly probably a bit more sweaty and anxious than they were before.
It's already quite there.
Raise his eyes slightly. I see. And you're all going into the demon lands, through the pit, to rescue the king.
Yes.
I like it. Sounds like a good plan. If only you had told me about this piece of technology before. All in favour, say aye. He raises his hand.
I kind of sigh of relief goes over Janus as well.
All in favour, say aye. Queen
Aye.
raises her hand.
I
Ingvar hesitates, but he also raises his hand and says aye.
Wilson very reluctantly raises his hand.
Nice.
Is everyone in
Rook is
agreement?
not. He's not. Didn't raise his hand earlier, but he's not raising it now.
Gage.
Mm-hmm.
Does Forage have a drink with him?
Yeah, there's glasses of water around the table. There's a large glass of water. There's 4 of them around the table.
Okay. Evelus is going to wander around the edge of the table, pour himself a glass of water, and pick up the one Forage's. And as he does so, kind of turn his back to him and going to attempt to slip the truth serum, just out of its vial in his arm. I need to forage his drink and hand him water and go, I'm glad we could reach an agreement, Chancellor.
You, my sir, can roll
Let's
a
see.
sleight of hand.
Oh, yes. 17.
Okay. He looks at you as you hand him the glass of water. He doesn't take it, but he looks at Beleric. Are you not in agreement?
Well, if I'm frank, Councilman, I'd rather not go wandering into the bowels of hell. It seems that this is a majority anyway, and so I will go.
So you have another idea? Or you simply do not want to risk yourself?
More the latter, really.
Yes.
Especially trained in combat, and you called me, as you so aptly put it, a ponce.
Understandable. Well, I'm sure your skills will be useful elsewhere in whatever the Queen has in mind. Raising through the ranks of the demons? I'm not sure, but sounds like you'll be there for a while. I should imagine.
An unfortunate necessity.
Yes, most certainly. I think it is a good plan, however. Good chance of succeeding. That, he points at Carl. It's good. I like it. So what is the first point of order? He turns to the Queen. Well, he turns to everyone, really. He's already turned to everyone. Never mind, he doesn't fucking turn at all. What is the first point of order, then? Are you ready to go? Where are you landing? How are you infiltrating? Are you going to go through the wall, sail around? How are you going to acquire status in the demon lands? It's all things we must think of. Do we have any thoughts?
We have one of their ships. It's a nice, easy way to meander up the coast, get as close as possible. It's a status symbol for the demons.
Could be. But a status symbol is presumably recognizable. I, for one, cannot tell the difference between one demon and another, but I imagine they probably could.
That is true.
Something to keep in mind. Well, there's always the option of sneaking through the wall under the cover of darkness and just being on the other side. That could be an opportunity. I must admit I am not particularly skilled in the matters of demon courts. However, I might be able to offer a word on my experience in the human ones. It might be translatable. I don't know. And of course, as I said before, my coffers are open to you, as this is an important mission. Those have been despite your betrayal of my trust.
As soon as he says that, Janus is gonna drop the head at his foot and be like, "Oh, oops."
He looks down and takes a moment to kind of take it in as he looks at it. He looks back at you. Interesting. Or perhaps you could make yourself look like him. That might be a good place to start. He was a general, was he not?
This is true.
He looks back. He looks back down at the head. You kind of follow his eyes. As you're looking at it, it looks like it's starting to decay slightly. You can see that a couple of bits of hairs have now fallen out of it now that it's on the floor, not in your hands. A couple of bits of skin start to flake off. Slowly.
Janus is gonna pick it back up again.
Yeah, you pick it back up. But yes, I think this is a good idea. We need to hammer out the details. And how long will it take for you to be ready to go? How long would you like?
Enough time to enough time to get our affairs in order and make sure that we are prepared to pass as demons. I think the
Queen.
rudiments of the language at the very least.
The Queen speaks up. Your shape-shifting abilities, he will be able to do about 1 a week. So consider it 4 weeks if it's only 5 if Wilson's going. The minimum.
I really want to kill Far Reach. Side note.
I think we all do at this point.
Yep.
It's tempting to just go out in a blaze, not gonna lie.
Yeah, 4 weeks should be sufficient.
So we need to decide how you get there and arrange a tour within 4 weeks. Learn the languages, acquire all you will need. He looks at the Queen. Anything else that I'm missing? No, I don't think so. We will go meet Jackson right away. Get our affairs in order. And go on an adventure. What say you all? Forage reaches down, takes a swig of his water. Is it a Constitution saving throw?
It was, yes. DC 14.
I'm sorry.
But he does become poisoned, doesn't he?
I think the poisoned is the truth serum.
Ah.
As far as I know, I don't think he becomes poisoned as well.
I don't know the wording on it, so.
But yes,
I
unfortunately,
think it's so that you can retry against the truth serum as opposed to like. I think
perhaps
it
true.
is both. Yeah.
It is not particularly his strong suit, but he rolled an 18 for a 19 in total, so he's not under the effects of the truth serum.
Yeah.
Hate him even more now.
He kind of
Him and his strong stomach.
he rolls it around his tongue and I think the water's bad. He puts it back down on the table. Shall we reconvene at the end of 4 months?
4 weeks?
4 months.
Yeah,
Weeks,
weeks. Sorry, weeks. Shall we reconvene at the end of 4 weeks?
Indeed.
Very well. Evelis is going to reach over and take a sip of Farridge's water and be like, "Oh, doesn't taste that bad."
Are you making a Constitution saving throw then?
I can do if you'd like me to.
Oh,
Dare
I think
later at
it's
the Golden Swan.
only fair.
Very well.
Oh,
That's a
this is
12.
poisoned.
Oh, that's a 12. Okay.
I'm in danger.
Does it taste? Does it taste any different?
Mildly, hardly
Mildly.
detectable. I mean, it's probably only detectable for you, really, because you are quite adept
Yeah.
at potion making.
Perhaps a little something, actually. It's not bad, though, I must admit.
Well, if
Anyway,
that is the
4 weeks
meeting,
seems enough time.
yes, if that's the meeting, I will have our messenger lead you to Jackson and you can begin. I will tell Maximus that they must be ready as well, and they will meet you in 4 weeks also.
Very well.
I will go.
Velios, how are you
I'm
feeling?
sure. Ah, well, little stiff in the lower back. Other than that, I'm feeling the same as usual. I may avail myself of your funds, Far Reach. I'm sure you get a list of all the things that we need for our journey.
Yes,
On-
of
There
on
may
course.
be
that,
also a
and
couple of extra things on there.
Yes, of course.
that which I'm sure is what Velios means is that our stay at the Golden Swan was for only last night. If we might be, not necessarily at the Golden Swan, but allowed some place to stay, to be much appreciated.
Yes, don't worry. We can arrange it. As I said, if you need anything that will contribute to your success of the mission, just say.
Does Far
We
Reach
should
have
probably
any
be on our way.
pens in his pocket that I can see?
Zone of Truth just made you like reckless.
I can't imagine he walks around with a pen in his pocket, no,
True
No.
to
He has
himself.
Okay.
also right for him.
unfortunately. Well, says the Queen, I'm going to go and have my second breakfast. She stands up and takes the stick from the table and hobbles on out of the room where the two red guards and
A splendid idea.
Carl walk out of the room together. Carl gives you another one of his slightly disjointed waves. And you hear her murmur something to the guy who brought you over here. And the messenger walks in and looks at you all. I'm taking you to Jackson, I think.
Splendid.
Oh,
He's a ways
Well,
away.
this
He's on the edge of the city. The materials
I'm
he
going
uses
to-
are hard to get. You were going to?
Sorry, yeah, I'm going to like link arms with Velios.
oh,
I've encountered this man slightly tipsy, and this seems so much worse. So I'm just gonna kind of keep a hold of him. And if I may, just kind of lean in very slightly and just go, "You really need to be quiet right now." And I'm gonna cast suggestion.
Go for it.
I can see this
Wisdom
go so
save.
wrong. Yeah.
Wisdom save. That is a 14.
Ills, please be quiet.
That sounds like an excellent suggestion. I mean, I was going to tell Far Reach that this meeting was a farce, but I think I'll be quiet now.
Thought you might. And I'm just gonna kind of steer him, strong arm him out of the like fairly swiftly.
Were you always this strong?
I'm really not very strong, my friend. Strong am I?
Let's see.
Not entirely average.
So,
You're stronger than I am.
Oh dear.
you're led out of the palace by the messenger through the polished streets of Illyrians, down past your ship, past the docks, past crowds of people who were crowded around fountains where people are singing dainty songs that you recognise the author of as you're walking right next to him. Down into
Fine.
the dingier parts of the city, through some of the slum-like areas. They're not slums like we know them, but they are slums for Illyrians. They are houses that don't have pristinely clean windows and pristinely, bricked walls. They're just slight cracks here and there, where multiple families live in each building. And it leads you through these streets, and the sounds of shouting people, children playing out in the streets, dogs barking greet your ears, until he leads you to the outer port, which you sail past it when you leave, and it's much more dark and grungy. And he leads you to the docks themselves, and you walk along the wooden platform. And he ducks in and out between a couple of buildings, and then takes a left turn down a flight of wooden stairs to a walkway where you're almost at level with the river that's going along. He leads you down past this ledge that's underneath the level of the city, across a small rickety wooden bridge, and you're now in front of a large sewer grate, which, all things considered, looks quite clean. It doesn't look like there's been any sewage coming out of it in a good while. There is some moss and some kind of rust around the gate itself, and a couple of piles of barrels and boxes next to it. And he pulls out an iron key, which he fits into a lock, turns it, clinks it, and pulls it open with a loud creaking noise. Jackson's just down there. You can't miss it. It's, well, there's only one way.
Let's start walking down the tunnel.
I miss many things that people say I can't miss, but people are going, so I shall follow.
Haha.
I'm here
How
to
long
take
does
you
the
back.
truth serum last, Janus?
I believe it's...
How long does the truth serum last?
An hour, I think.
Yeah, I think it was an hour.
Well, suggestion lasts for 8, so
It's probably been 8 minutes, to be
You're
honest,
very quiet.
since you
8
walked across
hours.
the city. Oh, 8 hours. Okay. Lovely.
sorry.
Well, you walk down the circular tunnel. Those of you with high perception, which I believe is Avelios and Eric, and you two particularly, because I know you have particularly high perception. You notice some deep red stains staining the floor of this sewer that look to be blood stains. They look like something's been dragged that's bleeding down this particular tube. And you walk along the corridor until you start to see a torchlight that illuminates the other end. And you continue until you find yourself at another iron grate, which is slightly ajar, looking into a room which can only to be described as a mixture between a butcher's shop and an alchemy lab. As you look inside, it's quite brightly lit by a sewer grate in the ceiling that's bringing in some outside light, and a couple of torches and candles are strewn across the room on shelving units that are lining the edges, that are all covered in a variety of different kind of pots, pans, jars, filled with different types of powders and interesting trinkets. The right hand side of the room itself is a large, what looks almost to be an armory rack, but if you were trying to arm a kitchen for a palace, it is filled with large kind of carving knives, butcher's knives, fish cutting knives. I don't eat meat, so I don't fucking know what kind of knives you use for this stuff, but all kind
Cleaver.
of butcher's equipment, yeah, cleavers.
Big.
And you take in the centre of the room where there is a large wooden table with some drawers in either side of it. And upon the table is several bloody heads of demons that are staining the table itself red with blood. There's some hooks in the ceiling where other parts of demons are hanging from. There's a couple of full corpses of demons that are just hanging straight from the ceiling. blood is kind of dripping down them into a grate on the floor where it's being washed away by gravity. And behind this desk you see a very large fella. He's about 5'11", so not massive, but he's relatively, he's above average. He's wearing a pristine white shirt, not a fleck of blood on it. Sleeves are rolled up kind of halfway up his forearms, and he's wearing a deep red apron that goes pretty much up to just above his chest and completely coats his torso. And he stood there, very thick, muscular man. He's got a very old face, wrinkled skin, white beard, very gaunt, kind of like deeply set eyeballs, bald head, just like a thin strip of white hair at the back. As he stands there with a meat cleaver in his hand, and he chops an arm on the table and cuts it in half. And he looks up at you. Well, hello there. Nice to meet you. I'm Jackson.
Like the shirt.
And my friends, that is going to be the end of what I'm going to be lovingly calling Season 1, because we're going to be moving on to another land, some more adventures, and some interesting things in the future. We're losing some players, some new players might be coming in, and there is some downtime. We have 4 weeks of external time, during which this time there are a few things that you may or may not discover. One, I assume you are all going to be learning some demonic languages. You will have enough time to learn both Infernal and the other one. What's the other one? Abyssal. If you so wish, I presume you both will be, as that will be quite important. You will also learn a couple of things about some items that you have been carrying around that you have not investigated yet. The one that is specifically of note is the chains that Koros wore. They have been lying on the deck of your ship for presumably a while, and after a while someone tries to move them, realizes that they're really fuck off heavy, and you do some sort of investigation and you discover that they are a magical item. They increase your strength to 21 and have an AC of 16. It is an armor, so it replaces whatever armor you have. And that is that magical item. The other thing that you would want to take note of is the shape-shifting ability that you are about to be bestowed upon for next season. It is something that you can change at will. You can change a number of times per day up to your constitution modifier, up to 1 plus your constitution modifier, for a minimum of 1. So you can shift multiple times if you are hardy enough constitutionally. Other than that, you have a lot of time to do some downtime activities. I believe Wilson is going to be heading off for adventures elsewhere in the lands. So
Yes.
we will be missing him, unfortunately. It's been good to have you along, Doom, so thanks for coming. Last minute as well, as we unfortunately were missing a player at the start, and then it all devolved and we were missing players anyway, but alas, you do what you can.
Maybe in the future, in like season 8 or something, when I'm done with uni.
Perhaps. On a side note, for those watching the stream, we are most likely not continuing the stream any further forward. So we thank you everyone for watching, and we hope this was at least a somewhat decent end to it. And we're just going to be continuing this as a home game, because I love enjoying playing with this group of people, and I'm hoping you're all not just staying because we're streaming it. And if you are, I don't know why, because we average 2 viewers, and those are me and Eric. So we'll see where it goes.
I mean, I watch too. Like, where is my view? Is it because I mute the tab?
I don't know. I've muted the tab, and I think I show up. But alas, it's been good. And as I said, I hope you guys have been enjoying it. But yeah, for those of you who are watching, I am going to be doing some other stream campaigns, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah.
Very nice.
Any closing words for anyone, or is that about it?
Our reaches up.
This has just been great fun.
I'm glad.
Thank you for running it.
You're very welcome. And it's not an end for us yet. We should
Hard to
continue.
get rid of them.
into the lands of Folgaron.
Very exciting.
Well then, as I said, we will end the stream there. Thank you all for coming. Bye bye. Come on, Janice, wave!
Raven!